APIs, that word keeps popping up everywhere, right? Yes, it's not just a technical word technical people use. And in this video, I'm going to be making it easy for you to understand what API really is. Even as a non-technical person, I'm going to be telling you some things about API that even some developers don't know. And it's really going to change the way you look at softwares and how they work. API, or Application Programming Interface, is a bridge that lets a piece of software, an application, or a service to be able to communicate with another. It's just like a messenger that we ask a request and then the messenger returns with what we ask for. And the truth is, we use APIs every day in our day-to-day lives without even realizing it. Take, for example, we log into our social media platforms like Instagram, we retrieve a user's profile, we see his post, we see everything we like, and then we share data across the internet via the use of API. So this is just an example illustration of what happens behind the scene. Every time we pick up our device to consume or share resources and content online, as we can see, these APIs are just mechanisms between us and where data are being stored, processed, and retrieved, which is a server. A server is a computer or a system that provides data, resources, or services to other computers over a network. Via APIs, we also have access to other companies' products and logic. For example, the Uber application uses the logic built by Google through their APIs to find routes and closest distance between 2 points. Payment API has also been created by Apple Pay, Stripe, PayPal, and Paystack to enable us to make payments on platforms like Amazon, Temu, and other online shopping platforms. Now we're also able to log in and sign up easily on multiple applications because of Social Logins API created by Google, Facebook, GitHub, Apple, and a whole lot more. Now imagine walking into a party or a restaurant and everything and everyone we see there, from the waiters to the ushers to the staff. Think of everyone there as the API of that environment. We look at the menu and then we place an order. A waiter or an API takes our request, goes to the kitchen, and returns with our order. We get the food without even knowing where the kitchen is or the chaos that has happened behind the scene. Is this same similar thing that happens whenever we log into our favorite social media handle like Instagram, for example? We click on the user's profile to view his page and his profile. The API helps us to communicate with the back end of this system, and then it displays the user's profile and its information on our screen. Now, this is where it gets confusing, especially for developers. There is a difference between an API and an endpoint. Think of an API as the entire service or the house as a whole, and then the endpoint as specific doors in that house or restaurant. So there are specific pathways for us to get specific information or specific things. Whenever we order for a drink, the waiter goes to the bar to retrieve the drink. Whenever we ask for a food, he goes to the kitchen to give us the food. Each endpoint has its own job, like login, get user profile, etc., to get users detail. So you see, API powers everything we do on a daily basis. It makes everything happen. That's why I'm able to post this video and you're able to watch it. Do you think you've used an API today? Tell me in the comment section. And if I've enlightened you a bit, like and subscribe. Now let's go deeper. Let me tell you some things you've probably never heard about APIs. API is not just about communication or a messenger between two applications or services. An API is a contract. They play significant roles in controlling the digital world. They are like the nervous system of the internet, and they encode business logic, not just data. An API isn't just about sending data, it's a contract. It's a formal agreement between two systems. If you send me this kind of request, I'll respond with this kind of data. It's defined what's exposed, what's hidden, what rules applies, and how multiple systems can communicate and play nicely without breaking each other. That is how complex systems coexist peacefully, and it's the reason you're able to log into multiple different applications with just one Google account safely. In the real world, laws tells you what you can do and cannot do. In the digital world, API does the same. API defines who can access what, how often can you access what, and under what terms can you access it. When Twitter or Meta changes their API rules, entire companies rise or fall because API just don't control data, they control opportunity. API are codes that govern the digital economy. If the internet was a living person, databases will be the memory, applications will be the organs, and APIs will be the nervous system. They carry signals, requests, command, and data between systems across the world. Every app we use, from Uber to YouTube to ChatGPT, all relies on API talking to each other. When an API goes down, it's like a broken nerve. Some part of the body feels the pain, even if the organ itself is fine. That's why entire companies exist just to maintain and monitor APIs, because if the digital nerves fail, the internet feels the pain. To most developers, an API is just a simple data exchange. But in reality, an API is more than that. An API encodes the essence of a business. For example, the payment API defines how payments or how money is being moved. A healthcare API defines how sensitive data are accessed securely. And a social media API defines how influence and engagement works. So, an API is not just a technical term or a function. It is the reflection of a company's value, logic, and control. For example, companies like OpenAI, Stripe, Twilio, the API is the product. You do not buy their application, you connect to their logic. API are business models turned into code. So now you know, APIs are not just about applications talking to each other. They are the secret handshake in the digital world. From Instagram showing you a friend story, to Uber finding your driver, to Stripe collecting your payments securely. All these are APIs talking to themselves behind the scene. So this is the eye opener. Once you fully understand the concepts behind API, you begin to look at the digital world differently. And then you begin to understand that all the applications we use is just a face. And the real brain behind all these things happening is API. So APIs has really helped a lot of business focus on solving real life problems without worrying about users' authentication or logging or collecting payments. So tell me in the comment section, which API do you think has really changed the game of the digital world a lot? And if this video has helped you understand the concept of API any better, please like and subscribe, because in the next video, we are going to be talking about something very important and mind-blowing.